Welcome to another episode of Keeping It Orange and Blue. I'm Ryan Evan. This is week 2 with no Kevin Ducey. Last week he was ill. This week he's got tornadoes bearing down on him in Oklahoma. And as much as he'd like to join, he told me he's taking cover with his family, and I don't blame him. And he sent me a video. Looked ugly. So hopefully everything's going to be all right with him. I told him, I said, God's got him. He's going to be good. So hopefully, soon he gives me the clear, but I told him we'd be going. So here we are. Obviously finished up watching an awesome game 7. I was rooting for the Timberwolves, and I didn't want the Nuggets to win again. I think seeing Anthony Edwards and that team emerge, just is good for the league. I don't think anybody wanted to see Denver repeat. Now, with that said, Illini related tonight on the show. Going to talk some more hoops transfer portal stuff. Obviously, that's really what the big topic is for hoops is transfer portal, and possibly a European player involved in the mix there. And then we'll talk Illinois baseball. Big Ten champions. Got to talk about them. But then with football coming, football season's just around the corner. It's very, very exciting time of year, and transfer portal has been a big thing for Illinois and Brett Bielema and staff too. And, I know they're looking to lock in, try to get 1 or 2 more commits from that. They had a nice week. So with football season a couple months away, I figured, it's time we start getting some football commits and players on. And let's get right to it. So the latest one, defensive lineman Gentle Hunt from Florida A&M joined the team and committed, and we're going to have him on the show right now. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for joining. How are you?
I'm doing all good.
So what was the transfer portal like for you? Because a lot of people aren't going to understand that per se. We just know that when people hit the portal, it's like coaches come and contact you, or maybe you can reach out. How was it for you, and transition that into maybe how long you're in it, but then how did Illinois get involved? I think Illinois fans are interested in that.
Yes, sir. So first and foremost, I appreciate you having me on your show.
Oh,
It means
yeah.
a lot for sure. But yeah, so after we won our national championship game, went 12-1 with the Rattlers, it was great. But I decided to change things up, come all the way out to Illinois. But before all this other stuff happened, I was in December. I went ahead and came back to FAMU just to go ahead and graduate because I was going to be a senior coming out the fall. But, I had to finish up the spring terms and went ahead and finished up with that. Took 19 credit hours to get up out of there this spring. So,
Congratulations, though, for being a college
yes, sir.
graduate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It means a lot for sure.
And transitioning, I don't want to interrupt, but transitioning to get your master's from Illinois is huge.
Yeah, it's going to be a big thing for sure. I mean, they're a great school. I think they said top 20 in the U.S. for sure. So that was crazy. So.
All right,
Yeah,
now how Illinois got involved. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead.
Nah, you all good. But like I said, hopped back in the spring. Recruiting went real well. I think I had over 20 plus offers coming out. So took my time with everything.
If you don't mind, because I want people, because you're coming from FAMU, which, by the way, winning a national championship is still a big deal. Heck, I don't even think Deion Sanders did that with Jackson State a couple of years ago, right? They lost.
Right. Yeah,
so that's a big deal. That's not it's just easy, easy peasy. So with you doing that, could you name a few schools besides Illinois who were interested in you?
Yes, sir. So my biggest one was probably talk to Houston, Kansas State, Michigan State as well. So just to name a few big ones. But,
okay. I just wanted fans to hear that. So they may say, oh, maybe he's just a guy that they just wanted to add, but you're a guy that other schools, including Big Ten schools, wanted. So I just want people to hear that and know that, obviously. So that's really good for you to know too, that you were coveted by some good programs.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was a lot for sure. I mean, talking to plenty of schools, I took my time, hopped in really early in March. But I took my time with the process, just taking a few visits here and there. But I really wanted to just sit back, wait, relax, and see how everything's gonna dial itself out. You know what I mean? I didn't want to wait too long, but at the same time, it was a stressful process, and I had to take 19 credit hours on top of all this stuff just to get out of there. So, I didn't want to do too much moving around and things like that. But I feel like later on in the process, I want to say earlier this month, they got involved. And they told me that they was really interested. I didn't want to be like, oh, just another Big Ten school, because I did hear a lot from other different programs in the Big Ten, but it didn't really, add up to anything. But when Illinois said they wanted to offer me, I was very excited. 'Cause just, for me and my football knowledge, they just had one of the best D tackles that ever come out of the Big Ten in Johnny Newton. So I feel like that was really, really well. But yeah, during my visit, it was great. It was great. Me and my mom went up there, sat down with Coach B, and everybody, and we went over like a plan to see like how my game can evaluate and jump up to the next level. So it was great, and I want to go ahead and make that transition to Illinois.
So, how detailed and how thorough are Coach B and I think Coach Jameson, right? You got to know Coach Jameson
Yes,
and
sir.
Coach Henry, your defensive coordinator, Coach Aaron Henry.
Yes, sir.
So, how I've heard they're very meticulous, very detail oriented. How they can help you and help players, not just how you can help them, but how they can get to the next level. What stood out up to that about what stood out about that to you during your visit? Like, man, this is some detailed stuff here. This isn't just I just want to come play, at the Power 5, Power 6 level. They're telling me like how I can get to the next level.
Yes, sir. So first thing first, when I got to during the visit, I mean, me and Coach B and my mom, we went straight up to his office, and the first thing he showed up was my tape and my film, and he sat down with me one on one, and it was great just because he has a defensive line background as well. You know what I mean? He played a huge
Yeah.
role and winning. I think he won three championships at his
3
past
Big Ten
school.
championships. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was great. I mean, not only that, he showed me he coached for the D line and with the Patriots as well and won a Super Bowl ring with them. And,
Yep.
just to hear him and hear the guys he done been around, like the JJ Watts, the Russell Wilsons that he done coached, it was amazing just to hear that stuff. But like I said, he has a D line background as well. So, he put up some tape with me, my tape, and seeing how I can go from a 7 to 8 sack season to a double digit sack season. You know what I mean? So that was great. But Coach Jameson, man, it was a really good time in the film room. I mean, like drills on tape every single time, and especially like watching Johnny Newton, watching Dax, watching Keith, all those guys, playing at the exact same time and seeing everybody like maneuvering and moving at the same exact pace, same exact rate, and just it was just great to see. You know what I mean? Because a lot of guys don't have you know, the talent, the ability, but when you have three interior defensive linemen get a shot at the NFL that all came out the same exact, D line room, it's like wow, like why not? Like why not get a shot?
Yeah. So what with you? I think just without even, I've watched some of your tape, but with the coaching staff, I'm assuming they like your kind of nasty physicalness, your toughness. I think in that you can use your leverage and not necessarily saying just because you're around 6 foot that means oh, he's undersized. That's what they say, undersized. Johnny Newton was 6'1". You know what I mean? Yeah,
Hmm.
and look what Johnny Newton did. I'm guessing wanting to utilize you at the nose tackle. And by the way, Illinois, we have a comment here from some people who are watching that Illinois is one of their greatest defensive tackles. Name was Mo Gardner. He was around maybe around your same size. I think maybe an inch taller, maybe, but still had an awesome career at Illinois. What is it that maybe you can use and you think, is it a chip on your shoulder maybe, or just what is it about your game that they loved?
Oh, 100%. I mean, like I said, to me, my favorite D tackle is of all time is, John Randall, the Aaron Donalds of the world,
Oh yeah.
and those guys always been down on their size. But if you really look at it, I mean, you can't really say too much about them when they going down as the best to ever do it. Not only that, like they're 6 feet tall. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So using their size to their advantage will be their quickness, their explosiveness, you know what I mean? And just having the leverage already automatically is a huge, advantage because like they say, low man wins the game. So, You know what I mean? It is a testament to me and watching their tape and seeing what they had did, and able just to walk in their path because everybody wants the 6'6" D tackles, the 6'5" D tackles, but I feel like to me it means a little bit more when the shorter guy, the guy that's undersized or less looked at, goes out there and dominate. You know what I mean? I just
Oh
feel like
yeah.
it's most definitely a huge chip on the shoulder because everybody gonna overlook you. Might say you're not the biggest, he's not the fastest, not the strongest, but when you turn on the tape, he's one of the best out there for sure.
Well, what are some things that you can take and you learned from your time at FAMU and transition that to Illinois? Like you can think about your journey and your path, and I think everything in everybody's life you can look back on and take some stuff. That where you probably had to put hard work in. When you first got there and got to be where you are now, obviously. So what a couple things that you learned maybe from FAMU that you can take to the next level, and your final chapter in college ball.
Stay humble. You know what I mean? To me, I mean, like I said, come from FAMU. I mean, I had a great 3 seasons there. Started as a freshman and still starting now. So, just learning from all the older guys that have been around the NFL and the guys that we sent out the NFL as well. It's just, growing up and watching those guys perform at their highest level. I just want to be the same exact one. It doesn't matter how you can always learn from somebody. You know what I mean? No matter they're 18 years old coming in or they're going into their sixth, seventh year as a senior. I'm always ready to learn from the greats, learn from even freshmen that's just not coming in. I feel like nobody's too bigger than the team to not always write down new information or learn from somebody else. So like I said, I'm always ready to learn and be ready on time. So I'm really blessed for this opportunity.
Hey Mo, if you have any questions, I'll before I get done with them, I'll let you ask them. We got some people watching, so
Yeah.
if you have a question or something, just put it in the chat here, and I'll ask. Apparently, you had a touchdown run. Somebody said he said you're real. He said you're pretty fast. He said
Yeah.
don't. Somebody said don't let it fool you. He said he's
Yeah.
pretty darn fast. He had a touchdown run.
Yes, sir. Yeah, my freshman year in the classic, score. I think I ran back like a 46-yard touchdown, 50-yard touchdown. Yeah, and it was an amazing game. I'll never forget that game. We had I think 3 touchdowns in under a minute and 20 seconds going into the fourth quarter, and that was one of the craziest games of that I done played in for sure. I'll never forget that.
I can, and I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to keep it real too, because this is my thing. Like it's not my day job, but this is something that I take great pride in. It's extreme passion for Illinois sports. I've been following it my whole life. I'm 36 and I do this. Like I eat, sleep, breathe Illinois sports when I'm not taking care of my kids and working during the day. But I am very glad. So I don't think they would have added you if Anthony Johnson hadn't he left. He jumped off of his commitment. I'm going to be honest with you. You know why he left? Because he didn't want to compete. You're a guy that's going to compete. And Bill and Mo here says you're going to be a huge help to all these young guys on the team. There's a bunch of defensive line young guys, and you're going to see them. And he didn't want to compete because he was worried about having to share reps with young guys. I can tell you that's not going to be an issue with you. Okay, I know you're going to go in there and you're going to beat them out, in my opinion. But my point is that you haven't been handed anything. Okay, there's guys that were on the team that some of them who left that were handed stuff and they expected a spot. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm happy he jumped off and left, and I'm super happy that they added you. So, you just have an awesome mentality and a great, perspective, and you've learned and what you can take from FAMU and bring to Illinois. And we have a question is, what are they going to are they going to let him play both nose tackle and Johnny Newton's spot? Like, did they talk to you about that?
Yes, sir. So, talking to Coach Jameson, I'm gonna be coming in and playing everywhere between the 0 and the 4 So, I mean, I'm super versatile. I got some tape going over the center, going at 2 going at the 3, get on the little island on 1-on-1. So, they're gonna move me around for sure. Especially they get to see that, hand in hand when we start camping things like that. So, I'm most definitely ready.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's awesome, man. So, and that was, let's see, one last question, and thanks for jumping on, man, and doing this. And I'm super excited for you, and glad you can come to Champaign. And Illini Ted, does he like to talk down in the trenches, or does he let his actions speak for themselves?
Nah, I'm not much of a huge talker to the other team, but I love to communicate with my guys. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I'm not focused on the guy in front of me to talk to him back and forth all game. You know, as long as my teammates know what's going on and the backers behind me understand what's going on and things like that, they're the only guys I'm really worried about. You know what I mean? So,
Swim move or bull rush?
man, I got a good little bag. Now I
Uh-oh,
love
both.
them.
Watch out.
Yeah, I got a good little bag for sure. Like I said, I feel like that's just a testament to my size, honestly. You know, because somebody might just think, oh, he's going to just run straight down the line to somebody, but now I can get out there and get real finessey as well. So, you know, I feel like I can mix it up from time to time.
And just coming from a dude, so Brett Bealey McCall, Johnny Newton, a generational talent. After watching some of his film and you knowing your craft and knowing, how talented you are, but seeing the game from your perspective, what stood out about Johnny Newton to you coming from a guy in the trenches? What just
Explosive.
made him so nasty?
Extremely explosive. Honestly, just a dog. Every play, he doesn't take a play off. You know what I mean? He's chasing the quarterback down from the backside, and when he rolls out left or right, you know what I mean? When the ball is just flowing away, he's always just pursuing. You know what I mean? It's not just him. It was Keith, it was
Oh
Bax,
yeah,
it was the rest of those guys that were just all moving and working at the same exact pace. But I feel like that's just a testament to those guys and what they did because it looks like they brought it every single day. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's just again, that's just over time of just being with those, I'm assuming being with those teammates and understanding that they had a goal and mindset where they want to get to. But like I said, I mean, there's nobody else better to really watch and come right behind and follow in their footsteps than Johnny Newton. You know what I mean? Just he
oh
been there dominant. Not even that. He's from Florida as well, so he got that
yeah,
dog in him automatically. So
yeah. He's a Florida boy, no doubt.
yes, sir.
So got a comment here basically saying, play wherever they need you to play, then make it impossible to take you off the field. So,
Yes, sir.
and I will encourage everyone to watch your film, General Hunt's film from FAMU. I'm sure you can catch it. Might be on your X page, but I guarantee you can look it up on YouTube 100%. So,
Yes, sir.
thanks for taking the time, man, and we appreciate you coming on here. And you never know, maybe we'll have you on again at some point. And I know Coach B can kind of have his guys real focused in. Maybe a bye week. We'll see what goes on later on in the year. But man, I really appreciate you being so receptive and coming on here, man. And again, congratulations. Will you be coming in June?
No, actually, I'm getting ready to come up there soon, right before Memorial Day. So
Okay.
yeah, we finna get ready to start packing things up here, and I gotta go back to Tallahassee, break down the apartment, and come on
Awesome.
back up to Champagne. Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. Yeah. And if you have any questions on any good food places to eat, just hit me up. I'll tell you. So
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you, hey, thanks, man. Safe
Yes,
travels, and we'll
sir.
see you soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me on.
Yeah. Have a great night. See you. All right. All right. Great young man, Gentle Hunt. Probably not gentle, but he's going to hunt, and that's okay. That's an awesome name too. I know people were talking about that when soon as soon as his name popped up into the fold for Illinois to recruit him and have him come to visit. So, yeah, so awesome. I saw a lot of your comments in here. I've watched some of his film. I need to watch a lot more because Mo, you're extremely sold on that, and yeah, that's awesome. So, love it. Love the addition. Like I said, I think it's addition by subtraction. Anthony Johnson. I don't want a guy. Nobody wants a guy. Nobody wants a guy who's scared to like compete. And like, I don't want to hear that. Oh, I didn't want to compete. Yeah, you did. Like, that's why you left. I went to Mississippi State because he assumed like, oh, they just lost three really good players. Like, I can just jump right in and I'm going to start. And he was like, wait a second, spring ball, that's not going to happen. Like, there's a lot of young guys. Sean, you just go right to it. Sean just hits right to it. So don't know the answer on that, Sean. When, but I am not changing my tune on it happening. So we'll get to that. So love the additions. Yeah. Yeah. So Mo, yeah, I know that schooling's involved with it. Again, we don't know the time frame though. I don't think there's a time frame. So I'll just jump into that since Sean already asked that. With my football predictions, I did have a good feeling Gentle Hunt would commit because of the Johnny Newton factor and the way that Illinois has been developing defensive linemen of late. And that's awesome to hear. Michigan State and some other schools, some decent schools, were in on him. And it's not a surprise because he's very talented. Yep, no doubt he is changing the narrative on the portal. So I have no changes in anything. I think that Zachary Franklin will still commit to Illinois. I just think it's a matter of when. I know I heard some maybe getting the NIL stuff down, but I think also too, once he finishes up with some classes, maybe it's just a class, but I know he had to go to summer school last year to get into Ole Miss. So I think there's just a lot with that. He's got to finish up some stuff. And this is what I told some people. They thought, oh, well, why didn't he just do it already? Well, I can tell you this, and if Brett knew that he had some issues in the classroom, why would he have him come visit? Well, I can tell you this, because they were confident that he's going to get done what he needs to have done. Barry Lunny knows him pretty well from UTSA. I know everything wasn't – I know he got into summer school last year at Ole Miss. And from everything they've looked over, and they saw that they think that everything's going to be fine with him getting into Illinois. They weren't going to waste time on Franklin if they didn't think he would get in. I just want everybody to know that. There's nothing perfect about the science, but I just wanted to let people know that because all the DBs getting drafted. Yeah, I saw Terrence Brooks said that. I think I made a comment last week or two on the show, if you guys remember, that who Illinois was hiring as the defensive backs coach was going to make a big factor into that. And I think we all saw who they hired and who he had just coached the past 2 years. I just want you guys to all connect the dots sometimes. I didn't necessarily know it was the Toledo coach, but what I had been told is that Terrence Brooks was coming because of who the defensive backs coach was going to be. I assumed it was a connection in Texas that he knew that he was comfortable with, but I didn't know it was because he had just coached the top defensive back in the country. So think about that. So you got Parker and you got Henry now, who have coached Weatherspoon and Kenyon. Is it Lewis? I think from Toledo. So, all those things kind of factor together. And, so my source was right on that. Zachary Franklin will still commit to Illinois at some point. I wish I had, powers to let everybody know the day on everybody who's committing. But sadly, that type of info isn't just passed around. I think the fact that I said that he's coming and I'm confident in that is pretty good. You don't see other people saying that. Where do you see them posting that at? Do you see any other magical orbs, crystal balls anywhere, anybody? If you see them for Franklin, let me know. I think, in the Wyoming defensive line, Gavin Myers, I believe is his name. I think the staff feels good about it, but I haven't put an orb in yet because I was told that it's just a matter of if he wants to just be a rotational guy, or if he wants to go to 100% start somewhere else, probably at a smaller school, which he can do. That's everybody's right. Just because he has an Illinois offer doesn't mean he has to take it. Because heck, he could have had he might have an offer from San Jose State where he's 100% knows he's going to start next year. So, that could be it. So anyway, now we're moving on to let's move on to some hoop stuff. And I'm checking in on Kev real quick, making sure he's good. Let me see here. Anyway, we'll check on him real quick. Now, with hoops transfer portal stuff. And by the way, you guys, if you have not subscribed on YouTube to our channel, Keeping It Orange and Blue at 200 columns, please do on YouTube. We appreciate it. We're trying to get to 1,000 sometime maybe this year. We're at like in the 600s. We appreciate all the followers on X. And please leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts about the show if you like it. I promise Kev will be back next week. I don't love just sit here talking, rambling by myself for 30 to 40 minutes, but I happen to be pretty decent at it because a few guys all remember my Periscopes. I used to just sit on my couch since 2017 and just ramble. You guys probably remember that. Yes, and Kevin lives in Oklahoma, you guys. Kevin does not live in Illinois. I actually sent him the new Luke Combs song, Ain't No Love in Oklahoma. He thought that was funny as a Twister was coming to his house. Malik Thomas is coming to visit, correct. But that's not transfer portal stuff. So from just speaking with some of my sources this week, Illinois, I'm told it's not necessarily transfer portal, but it is in portal season. The coaches feel pretty good about Landon Kasparis, Joshionis from Lithuania. And it's all on the Discord channel, you guys. I'll post the link again on this if you're not in the Discord. But I'm going to keep it real about the Discord. If there's not updates every day, if I don't hear new info every day, I don't post it on there. But there is a bunch of wild Illini fans and general chat. There's a football chat, there's a basketball chat, and then there's recruiting. Sometimes I have to lasso them up a little bit and tell them to get the general stuff out of the recruiting stuff. But I also have a hot board on there where I post all the latest and hot, most important info that I'm hearing that you can literally just look at instead of having to decipher and read through other people's whatever they're talking about. You can just look at it. I actually posted a couple updates on there today, some about what I'm going to be talking about now. But the Kasparis kid, I've told Illinois staff feels pretty good about landing. I know they were in a dog. Gonzaga felt really good, Arizona. But Illinois has really pushed Antigua and Jeff Alexander, I think, have put Illinois in a really great spot. It sounds like they're going to be playing there's some big tournament in Germany in the next week or two that the staff is going to be flying to and going back to Europe to watch him play. And from what I'm told, it's pretty much to kind of get the seal the deal with them and get the commitment. I was told if Kasparis was coming to Illinois, it wouldn't be till later on in the summer anyway. And it sounds like they can get that done, and they're trying to make that happen after the tournament in Germany. So I guess it's a lot about if some of these kids were to sign and commit to Illinois or wherever they were going to go to, Kansas, Gonzaga, then they couldn't play in these tournaments still. And they want to finish up and play one more. There's one more big tournament for their country they can play for before they come to Illinois. So if they were let's say this kid was to commit to Illinois right now, he wouldn't be able to play in this tournament. So they just kind of want to get it done, finish up, and then, the teams also want players on campus early too, and that's a lot of what it is they want them the first or second week in June, 100%. So there's a lot of that going on with the whole of the patience. It's like, be patient. I know fans want everything right now, but that's not necessarily how it works. I know we want it all now, but that isn't usually how it works. I think Luke Altmaier will be the starter the next 2 years, and then I think Boyd will take over. I think Petty from Ole Miss and Carson Boyd will go at it. We probably have a redshirt sophomore Petty and a true freshman Boyd. I think that'll be fun. We'll see what happens. I think Boyd. I think Boyd, by the time he's a true sophomore will be the dude, but I don't know. We'll see how it happens with Petty. I mean, if Petty's good enough to start over him and him be the man, I think I'm okay with that. So 100%. And you know what? And when you say, what does that kid do well? Kasparis, he does everything pretty well. He's not a great athlete. He's a good athlete. He's not a great three-point shooter. He's a good three-point shooter. I think maybe he's a great free throw shooter, but he's a good ball handler. He's got good basketball IQ. I mean, yeah, he's tough, man. And I think Coleman's staying pro. I think he's helped make himself some money with how he played, in that scrimmage. I think he can be a valuable asset to somebody. But that doesn't mean if, North Carolina or Arkansas throw him $1.2 million or something, that he might not. He might stay. We'll see. I think he can get himself a guaranteed two-way contract, though, personally. Yeah, Sean, if Altmaier leaves after this season, that means he had a great year and he's an NFL quarterback. And I think many people would be okay with that. And then you got Trey Petty there, and maybe Donovan Leary gets a chance as a senior to be the guy for 1 year. Let's just take it a week or two at a time and a season at a time. So, but yeah, so that's what's up with Kasparis, Zachionis from Lithuania. Look him up if you haven't already as highlights. But that's what's going on. There's a tournament or competition going on in Germany here in a week or two that, I think he wants to finish up and play. Yeah, good culture fit. Good culture fit. And if the staff's going to see him again, think about that. If they're going to Europe twice in a month in a 30-day period to see somebody play, that tells you something. And in regards to Miles Kelly, and I know, someone's asking me about AJ Mitchell. He hasn't officially entered the portal, but we'll see if he actually jumps into it and leaves the draft process. But Miles Kelly, I was told, so Illinois still has some interest, in that. But if they're going to land someone, he's I think Leary would be fine for a year or two. I think Leary, if Altmaier leaves after this year, I'd be okay with Leary. He looks competent. And thanks, Jay Bagan. Congrats to your Timberwolves. I gave you guys some love earlier. I was happy to see them win. I did not want to see the Nuggets repeat, and I think the Wolves can win it all this year, man. But yeah, Kasparis, I think sometime in June or so, if Illinois pushes for it, they're going to go get that commitment here in the next 2-3 weeks is what I believe. It's going to be in June though, so patience. Don't blow me up at June 5th if he hasn't committed yet. I'm saying the whole month of June. Now, I was told by my two sources that it's looking like it's going to that deadline again. You remember last year when the whole Ray J stuff went into June? It sounds like that May 29th entry deadline thing is you're going to see more and more names as that approaches, and it's going to go into that process. And yes, Miles Kelly is a name. I believe Watkins is going to stay in the draft, so I don't think he's going to be one that Illinois is after. And I was told he wasn't a priority. I told you guys this last week. I know some people think he is, but I was told he wasn't. And then AJ Mitchell is just kind of like an unknown right now. I know people and other people have been trying to hint at it, but we'll see. Did he send a text to someone and just they're waiting? They're just waiting to, because he could send that text to his dad, or he could send that text to any college coach that he wants. A couple of the coaches, and he told him to keep it quiet until I'm ready to announce it. And then all they got to do is show proof with the timestamp that he sent that text. Sean Garner, I just have you be my freaking list. Sean Garner, what's the next topic? Yeah, thank you. Jordan Lathon from Morehead State. Well, as I was finishing up with Miles Kelly, I'll get to that. So it's looking like those guys the end of the May, and then we'll see. And the names who pop up, like AJ Mitchell, is he going to pop up? We'll see. It's going to be fun the next 10 days. to see how that goes. And again, I think Coleman stays in the draft and has made himself money in a two-way contract. At least I think they can guarantee $750,000 a year, which I think he'd take. I think he wants to be done with school though too. That's another thing. People are like, well, if he could get $1 million from North Carolina and $750,000 from the Jazz or something, if he's got it guaranteed $750,000, I think he'd probably stay in the NBA. Wants to do NBA. Wants to play basketball. He's got his degree from Illinois. I don't think he necessarily wants to go get his master's from North Carolina or Arkansas or whatever. I don't think the Grizzlies ever do win a title. I don't think Ja is mentally capable of that. I think he's got a lot of things he needs to get fixed, and I don't think that organization did enough and is doing enough to kind of fix and put things around him. I think they had a chance to be good, but the wielding the gun thing was a little too much. So I was told by a couple people, that the Lathon thing, that the staff, Illinois staff, we met up with Jordan Lathon's parents, and he is in the portal. So that's a guy. Remember that Antigua and Underwood offered when they were together the first 3 or 4 years. So when he first came to college, Illinois offered him. Just remember that. And I would love that. Let's just be honest. If they could add Lathon and Kasparis, I would love it. Think about that. You got a veteran dude, 22, 23, who's played in the NCAA tournament. We saw him. He balled out against Illinois. Great size. He's fearless. He's a good shooter. He's tough. I'd be okay with that. You could add him to your 3 spot and then bring this like Lithuanian phenom in to play some minutes. So that excites me. Real quick here, before we get to talking, I think Lathon could easily be your Harmon replacement, but better than Harmon. Way better score. I think there could be a possible 2025 reclass, but it's a name that I was told to watch out for this weekend because I was talking to some of my sources and I was like, hey, what's some names out here we're looking at and the staff's looking at? And who are some names, maybe that's just sticking out today, And yes, they threw some offers out, but it was also like, what could be a surprise name, all right? And there's a kid who's already made his top 5 list for 2025. And Illinois wasn't in it. But Kentucky was. And you got to remember, we just got Orlando Antigua. We just got Orlando Antigua from Kentucky, which is the connection why Kentucky was in his top 5. And I was told, by a few people that, hey, he could be a reclass. It could be a reclass option as well. And you might want to look out for it. So, and that is Will Riley, my bad. Misspoke here. But yeah, Will Riley from Calvary Christian in Florida, and he plays for UPlay. He plays for the UPlay AAU, I believe, on the EYBL circuit. So that's a name here that to watch out for. And yeah, let's see. Yep, that's a name to watch out for as a possible reclass, I was told. But I can 100% assure you that there's major interest from Illinois there, and they watched Jeremiah Fears this weekend in the EYBL do his thing, with the Indy Heat. But I just want to let people know this. And I know everybody, there's fun things. Jeremiah Fears is not reclassifying, okay? He's going to stay in 2025, get a little bit stronger, be ready to dominate. I think he wants to work his number up and get himself, I think he's top 15 in most of them, top 20, 100%. Be a McDonald's All-American, do all the fun stuff, be the guy, be talked about, have everybody ready to come see 5-star Jeremiah Fears. They went 3-1 this weekend in Indy. was dynamic in every game. Even one where he scored 13, I think he had 7 assists, like 6 rebounds, 4 steals, something like that in his last game. And even in the game they lost, I think he had 18 points and like 6 assists. So, yeah, love the dude's game, but Jeremiah Fears is not reclassifying. I think Will Riley is a kid that could reclassify possibly. So, it's all good, Jay Bacon. Better late than never. I text Kev and send Kev some love, everybody. Message him on X, tweet at him, whatever. Let him know, hey, we're thinking about you. Yeah, it could be a fun with Malik Thomas 2025. That's the kind of things we're getting with Antigua here, you guys. That's crazy to think about. I think if Illinois can get some 5-star kids like that to commit right away. Yep, that's true, Bill. That's true. I'm ready for it this year. I think Illinois is going to go to a bowl game. I think 6-6 for sure. I think 7's very possible. I think the offense is going to be explosive. So I'll do some Q&A here in a minute, but yeah, send some Kevin your love. Hopefully he's all good. But what we have to do is discuss really briefly Illinois baseball. Come on. Let's give them a standing O, everybody. Get up. 33-17, and they went 28-7. 28-7 to end the season, to be the outright Big Ten champions. And I feel pretty comfortable in saying they've pretty much locked themselves into a NCAA tournament berth. If you guys saw today, the NCAA posted their like pre-bracket. You know how they do the pre-bracket in March Madness where they had Illinois as a 4 seed and they worked their way up to a 3 seed a month later. Well, this is the week before preview show. Well, Illinois is a 3 seed playing in the Terre Haute regional. And yes, there's 4 seeds, but if you also look at it, there's the 11th seed there. So they're like 6 or 7 spots in from what it looks like away from the bubble. So they're not even one of the last 4 teams in. I think they're like 6 or 7 away from being the last team in. So I feel like as long as they don't lose their first 2 games this weekend, if they lose, let's say they lose to Penn State, who's not great, and then they lose to an average Iowa team, pretty average. They're not terrible, but they're not great. If you look at their RPI, you can't lose the Penn State game and that game. I think you beat Penn State and you get to the second night playing a Michigan team that's pretty solid, pretty good. They're off the bubble a little bit, but a good team RPI wise, Michigan. And then let's say you lose that one, and then you take on either Iowa or Penn State and win that one, and then whatever. You just can't lose your first 2 games. I think Illinois' RPI is going to be fine. They're at 43 right now, but you can't take 2 hits of losing to Penn State, which would bump your RPI up probably closer to 50, and then lose to Michigan or Iowa, which is going to lock them in the 50s. But I still think they're going to get in either way. They may be one of the last. They may get put in a regional with like Kentucky or a Tennessee, one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country. But now they're in the 11th. So really they're more like 10 teams off of the bubble. But you lose those first 2 games, you're going to be playing in a tougher regional. That's just how it works. But anyway, congratulations on those guys for winning the Big Ten championship, finishing 28-7 and 33-17 overall. It's just been fun to watch them. And I was trying to get a couple players on here. Maybe we can. We'll see. But those guys deserve your attention. And I'm going to be honest, if they get put in that Terre Haute regional, Illinois should have won both the games they played against Indiana State this year. They blew the first game. They were up 6-2, and they gave up 5 runs in like the 8th or 9th inning and lost 7-6. And then they blew them out of the field a couple weeks ago, 21-11, I believe. They put up like 8 home runs that game. So I think Illinois could win the Terre Haute regional, and that's the 11th seed, the 11th ranked Indiana State. They'd be 11 out of the top 16 teams get a host to regional. And right now, Indiana State is number 11. So with that said, let's do some Q&A. What's your odds at Merez? I don't think he's going to be a one and done. I think he's going to be a 2-year player. He has very high upside. You're right. I think with Visic, though, I think he's going to be splitting time, probably each close to around 20 minutes a game. So I think Merez, though, by that second year is just going to have that 3-point stroke, looking more and more confident, and he'll just be a more polished player by then. And I think he's size-wise will probably be closer to 250 by that point. You got a guy around 6'10", 250 that can shoot the three and just get bigger and stronger with Fletch. There's a lot to love there. I don't know why the TBT. I think they just kind of stopped for a little bit. Some of the players really weren't into it. Some of the better players, like I think Brandon Paul, was real embarrassed by the team year that they played the TBT, and they couldn't even get out of Peoria. Yeah, but it is true. Terre Haute might be worth it. It is an easy drive. And the golf team won the Stanford Regional. It's championship. Yeah, it's true. Yep, Merez is going to stick around 1 year to play with Fears. And I think he'll finish up Ty Rogers' career. They'll both be, Ty Rogers will be a senior that his sophomore year, and they can both go out in style. So with that said, you guys, thanks a lot for joining me tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Retweet this if you have not retweeted it. Jump on the Discord. I'll post a link. Subscribe on our YouTube channel and send Kevin some love. Hopefully he's good. Yeah, we appreciate it, you guys. And as always, the College Huddle, thecollegehuddle.com. We have our own page there. All our episodes are there. We got the Illinois teams. The Illinois schedules are there, like the football and basketball schedules. We're going to get some articles start getting put up on there. But anyway, and as always, at 200columns.com. We've got every podcast show episode we've ever done on there at your easily leisure to find. So we appreciate that as well. So with that said, enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Swami out.